Hi, in this edition of Platform Disco, we're going to discover our guest, Hans-Michael Krause from Bosch Rexroth, and he's the partner director of the ecosystem of ctrlX World and ctrlX Automation. And what are you going to learn here? The best way to do staged expansion in platform ecosystems. This is a real true role model. A partner ecosystem that is human and fosters connections. A person that says, I'm here on a mission. I can never change jobs before the mission is done, and has a clear vision of where to go in the next 3 to 5 years. The role of senior management, actually providing the name, the design, but also active sponsorship so that everybody feels empowered and that this ecosystem mindset can thrive. And last but not least, partners that start recommending customers, which will be further explored and intensified. So you see, this is a wonderful episode. Dive right in. Hello, everybody. This is Platform Disco. My name is Alex Pesek, and I'm one of the DJs and co-hosts of our beautiful podcast here. My partner in crime is...
Hi, I'm David Detjen, and I'm the second co-host of the Platform Disco podcast.
Great. And Platform Disco stands for discovery, the discovery of platforms, business strategy, technology, and the people behind it. And one person behind such an ecosystem play is Hans-Michael Krause. He's from Bosch Rexroth, as we say in German. We are 3 German native speakers, by the way, but we chose to do it in English. And we want to welcome you and thank you very much that you're here. And enjoy the ride with us in our discotheque. Maybe you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Yes, thanks, Alex. Thanks, David, for having me. I'm Michael. Or the English native speaker can call me just Michael. That's easy. Happy to be here. I think we are going to talk a little bit about my role later on. So I'm 16 years with Bosch Rexroth, as you would pronounce it in English. And now in this platform ecosystem play and game and having a lot of fun and looking forward to our conversation.
Great. Thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate that. Maybe to start with, you already mentioned a little bit your journey. And what we're particularly interested in is those last years when you took on board this role. Maybe you first introduced the role that you're having, and the last years, what has happened there and what was particularly exciting for you?
Yeah, my role is officially I'm leading the partner management. You can call it ecosystem, partner ecosystem around an automation platform. What's an automation platform? It's basically a building set of components to make automation, to make machines move, mainly machines on the shop floor. And the platform is called ctrlX Automation. We launched it in 2019, thinking in a technological platform, like a building set that you use to form your automation solution. And we quickly found out when we launched it that there are other companies interested in providing that technology. And somehow like that, we started this partner network, which is called ctrlX World, which I'm heading now, together with a team of partner managers. And then we said, okay, it would be nice also to put to this technological platform, a platform in the economic way. So to provide digital channels, to establish a marketplace, to establish a fleet management. So the technological building set of this platform got an economic sense and was very much extended over the recent years. So we started exploring what partners can actually bring. And now we are 90 partners, or we have 90 partners in total in the ecosystem after 3 years, more or less. And it's a really nice discovery, right? Referring to your title, because in ecosystems, things are moving quite fast and dynamic, and you cannot plan it the next 5 years, and you need to discover what you can achieve together.
Great. And you know, you in the pre-discussion that we did have, you were mentioning to us that you were, so to say, almost falling into this opportunity because partners signaled to you something. That's maybe also interesting, given that many projects in this space are being launched and designed, and you had a slightly different path. That is, I think, a pretty interesting development journey that you went through. Maybe you can allude to that a little bit.
Yeah, so actually, before managing this partner network, I was responsible for our industrial control and IoT products, and product management. So we, in 2016, 2017, we went into industrial IoT, a big topic of the last years, with many big and small players, And our journey into IoT was at the end that we realized there are a lot of startups in this field and also big players, and we better pivot our strategy. Instead of doing IoT by ourselves, we are a mid-size automation company. So there are big multinational elephants, as I always say, dominating the markets, and there are nice mid-sized speedboats driving around them and pushing the industry forward. And we learned that IoT, we cannot do it by ourselves, and we pivot, and we say, okay, let's put the resources rather in strengthen the platform, in building the walls instead of putting the paper on the walls which are not existing. Let's take this analogy, and invest in a proper SDK for the platform, invest in those basic building blocks of the platform, and partner with external companies which used to be our competitors and became partners actually. And that was a major shift in strategy thinking that we did in 2020 actually, in the middle of Corona. we decided this. We launched the platform digitally in the middle of Corona. So so that was a major shift in the strategy to say, okay, what are our core strengths? Where do we focus on? We focus on building the walls. We put the paper on the walls later on. We focus on where we are strong at, which is architecture, for example, of the platform, which are certain app functionalities, but we also decide what we not do. And many people decide what they would like to do instead of thinking what they definitely would not like to do. So we decided what we not are going to do, and then we decided for these, let's say, fields, because we wanted to have a complete platform. Customers decide on a platform how they can solve their problems. On the stuff which we don't want to do and don't want to focus on, we partner. And this is actually how we stumbled a little bit into this partner strategy. But stumbling into sounds so amateur-like, to be honest. I mean, there are other approaches where you make a pre-study of 2 years. Does it make sense to build up a partner network or not? We actually found 12 partners that were willing to start this endeavor with us, which we used also together then to build our partner processes. And looking backwards, I think that was the best way for us to approach stepwise this ecosystem journey instead of planning it ahead 2 years. And then when you are ready to launch, market circumstances have changed a lot, and then your 2 years planning is can go to the trash bin.
So with having now lots of new partners, is your focus, or how would you rate your development experience? How important is it for you, for the company, from a strategic perspective?
It's very much important, and I already mentioned this. Our customers, imagine you are a machine builder. You want to put some automation components on your machine. You want to make your machine moving. Let's assume you are building a chocolate bar packaging machine, or a filling machine for soft drinks. I think Alex has some experience in this.
In both, actually.
In both, actually.
Chocolate and beverage industry.
In both, actually. Yeah, I was guessing right. So imagine you would like to make the automation of this machine obviously you choose a provider which, let's say, solves all your challenges that you have in moving the machine and fulfilling the tasks of Alex former employees, companies where he was working for, so pack stuff, and that they can sell it. So they decide on a platform that really can solve all their challenges. Now, I said, we are a mid-sized automation company. We cannot do everything by ourselves. We learned that in the case of IoT. So, however, we would like to compete with the big elephants, and the big elephants, they have everything. But actually, applying a partner strategy and having partners, we can also say, oh, we have everything like the big elephants. And by the way, we are open and we are, let's say, allow competitors on our platform. So you can really truly choose what is the best solution for your challenge. And that became really, really very much important for the platform to be successful.
So you started with SDKs and had a focus on SDKs. Why did you do that?
I mean, we had a look at the consumer world, we say, for example, our platform is like the smartphone of automation. So we took a lot of concepts from the smartphone world and applied them in industrial automation. Now, to give you some perspective on industrial automation compared to our consumer devices, it's like a time machine. It's like traveling back 20 years in technology, and then you are arriving at industrial automation technology. So we introduced software containers. You can call it apps on your smartphone, but at the end it's a software container. We introduced standard APIs, and we learned from the smartphone world that if you want to engage an exciting ecosystem, obviously you need to attract cool people with their cool solutions. How can you attract them? Have low barriers to deliver something on your platform, and providing a software development kit with examples, with documentations, is basic thing that you need to do in order to make your platform attractive. Because developers or software companies, they also have only limited resources, and they need to decide which platform they are going to enter, and you need to lower these barriers. So we were concentrating in the beginning a lot on the developer journey, how to make it easy for our customers, but also partners to contribute.
Great. Actually, that leads me into a general question. Now you have the rear view mirror back to 2020. What were the things that you would say the three big wins or big successes that you had so far? What would you mention there?
What I liked is that we got a nice growth of our partner ecosystem, and we always had a look in the beginning on a nice mixture, a mixture of startups bringing innovations to the shop floor, but also, let's say, well-known brands in the automation field, that people can trust this ecosystem, and say, okay, it's not something that Bosch Rexroth is going to drop 2 years later because they lose interest. We took it really serious and the partner selection actually is really quite important at the beginning, that you also show to your customers what they can expect within the network. So it has been growing a lot. We established, we are also a hardware-oriented, let's say, B2B company, like many B2B companies, and we see a trend that our components get, let's say, more economic each time, and you can call it commoditization somehow, and we need to go more into software, and our industry, let's say, is used to buy a big fat servo motor or power electronics, and then say, okay, but the firmware is free, right? The software is it's not tangible. I already buy this big tangible product from you guys. So software is free, right? So to make our customers understand. And sometimes I really think it's weird. They don't want to pay software for an embedded software, as we call it, for a motor or power electronics, but they spend a lot of money on their ERP systems. And I don't mention the name, but you know, and they are not willing to invest into software. So another big win that I see is that we managed to establish ongoing software business by selling apps to our customers that use our automation platform. So actually really selling apps via our store, via our sales force, via our sales partners and distributors. And to make significant revenue and to show the management this is the right way to go, and this is the right strategy if you want to, let's say, go into the software world. And the third big win is, and that's also something very typical for automation. I mentioned hardware and software is a product. We decoupled the software, the operating system from our devices, and offered it to other automation or let's say other IT companies to apply it on their devices. And we won with Vago, another automation company which is active in different industries, in building automation, energy distribution, and they apply the software stack on their controllers, and somehow are a device partner now, or we call it ctrlX or OEM partner. So a device partner that, let's say, make the device, the installed base of devices bigger. And I think this is the third big success that we made and announced this year. And somehow here our vision is really to become the industrial Android, to really offer a big alternative, open alternative to the big elephants that don't create ecosystems, as I say, they create ecosystems. Thinking in how to use best their ecosystem or their ecosystem for their benefits.
Cool. Looking at it from the outside, sorry, David, just a quick one. We were also discussing what is really special about what you guys have achieved. Indeed, the setup of the partner ecosystem and how you also personally managed that and created this trust and enabled interactions is pretty unique. And we often see partner systems that are set up where actually this human personal relationship component is not played out to that degree. So that's, to me, one of the things that truly stands out here. And also this ecosystem mindset, because you open up your operating system, that ultimately means that you really embraced and understood the platform world and the ecosystem world, where actually the value creation is happening outside and not inside, because there will be always smarter people, more resources on the outside. And I like your image of the elephant, because even if you were maybe a smaller elephant, but given that you have so many elephants in the family now, you are a nice herd and you still have impact. So that's a nice image that you draw. Sorry, David, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's absolutely interesting. So regarding your community, so how you curate your community and what were the main problems in building up this community until now. From the one hand side, we talked about they need developers like really cool software, like to have it like in an open source kind of way that they can extend, look at the code and so on. But there are also other barriers kind of in communication with the community. So where were the obstacles there?
Yeah, when we started with the partner network, we had the idea. I started as a solo show together with a colleague who actually has another job. So we started as a 2 or 1.5 people team, and the idea of the management was to create a lot of, let's say, automated processes that partner can onboard themselves. Because we saw, I mean, when you again look to the smartphone world, Nobody at this big smartphone companies is actually partner manager for all the developers, right? So they create community events, but there are no real partner managers. But we quickly found out that in B2B, you always have this human side somehow. So we were not scaling, let's say, with IT systems. We were scaling with people behind, and there was a good and a bad thing. I mentioned Corona time. Corona actually enabled us to make per day three partner talks without traveling and without moving. So we could quickly, when you see our growth curve of new contacts, we have a very steep curve at the beginning, and that was actually helping us Corona, because I could do 3 meetings via Teams and Zoom and so on per day, and meeting a lot of people that were interested. So we could really have a quick start and quickly find out the ones we are willing to partner with in a nice way. What was a positive thing on the other side was also a negative thing, because you were talking about building up a community. You can only build up a community. We could only do online meetings. We quickly started also doing partner meetings, but it was only possible online. And first time I think we met was on Hanover Fair. I think it was last year, 2020. Was the first real community meeting on a fair. And for me, it was amazing, because I had this, this online meeting effect. You think you know people quite well, but when they are standing in front of you, they are taller or yeah. So you never see the height of the people in online. So I really enjoyed this first meeting on Hanover Fair, and I said we always need to do these meetings on fairs, yeah. So to bring the community together, try to mix the partners also between each other, that they can maybe create even not a one-to-one partner solution, but also 1, 2, or 3 or 4 companies involved. So that was the strategy here, and I quickly found out that this community thing, and that for example also being reachable, yeah, as a partner manager is really a point of success. Yeah, I got feedback from companies that are also interacting with other platforms. They told me, yeah, we also had this contact with this big elephant. And it took us, I don't know, several weeks to reach the real partner manager. And here we dropped a message on your website, and some hours later you contacted us. So that made a difference. Yeah.
So how do you communicate? Is this mainly email, or do you have a Slack channel? Do you communicate on GitHub?
That's always a point of discussion that we have within the partner managers. So it was a lot of email and online meetings. And real meetings nowadays. And we were always discussing what is the best place to build up a partner community. We are limited a bit by the Bosch IT world, I have to say, and I'm inviting all the partners to join a SharePoint inside the Bosch IT, and that's really a pain in the ass for most of our partners to join, because we have high security measures, as you can imagine. So we are struggling. I was always thinking, is a LinkedIn group the best place? Slack, I'm not sure if this is the best place. We were thinking open up our teams, but at the end, we don't communicate like hourly with a partner, and we thought maybe by email is the best. We established a newsletter, or we call it updates thing. But honestly, here we are also still searching for the perfect solution, to be honest, because I have the feeling that but some partners are not reading those newsletters. So have not found the optimal way. What's your experience, or what would you recommend?
So what I used a lot was definitely Slack channels. This was pretty fast and awesome, because you had different topics and different channels, could tag people, and it was also not always in a high frequency. So it could take 1 or 2 days to get an answer to a certain thread or to a certain topic. And yeah, lots of developers like Slack. So this is the experience I had. And also communication on GitHub or GitLab or the repository, commenting functions and so on. This was also a thing I've seen a lot of times. But for me, the interesting or most interesting thing of this problem is that in general, there should be a software which is made for communication with platforms and the community of the platforms, where you can easily join from the one hand side, but from the other hand side have really good curation. So it could be a mix of a chat system and a forum. But I have also not seen something like this until now, and I'm always curious how people really do it in a practical way, right?
There is a good partner stack available, so particularly for customer mapping, so where you as a partner and the other partner are opening up a mapping of customers. Whom do you serve together? Whom could you introduce warm? How can you manage the partner relationship? How could you actually communicate with each other? How could you have community? So there's a great tech stack, and it's up to $9 billion if I don't remember it wrongly. So there is more and more coming in this field. But as you both said, I think you have to, for the time being, one has to bridge a little bit. And what I see very often is the Teams environment, because in larger corporations, Microsoft has this important share, and managing security and safety is a core concern, and IT is very happy in setting this up. So, but if you want, we can put you forward to some of the guys in this partner stack field. There are also Germans that live in the US that actually
I know one of them.
some.
Yeah, and we have been discussing, but here those stacks are mostly I know one who's active in email communication, improving emails, for example, and he is relying mostly on Gmail, and we are not using Gmail. We as I said, we have a closed IT environment. If I want to introduce a new software, it's Cumberstone. It took us I don't know it took us as Bosch, I think 2 or 3 years to introduce Miro boards. Now we have our own Miro tenant which we can use under Bosch circumstances, also with data protection rules, and it's also, let's say, understandable, because we are a 400,000 people company, and if somebody breaks in the IT network, that could harm a lot. So we have quite high standards also with two-factor authentication, but this is really, let's say, making life very hard for partners sometimes to join our SharePoint for exchanging data, for example. So that is a hurdle that you need to address somehow and find a nice way. The same with the community, and as I said, the frequency of emails is, from our perspective, still the optimal thing to communicate with partners. And we have been approached by different channels, and it's funny, David, that you mentioned GitHub. We even had a partner request via GitHub, via our SDK, and I found this really remarkable, that we are approached on GitHub. But this company is now official partner, has become official partner. So we are open on all channels on partner requests.
Cool.
That's a cool
Let
thing.
me go back maybe one more time. You just said something very nice. We have the vision of becoming the Android of automation. When you developed that vision, who was part of this process? Because I think what we are trying to do in our strategic work is to support companies having a clear end game where you want to go towards, and future backwards, step-by-step approach it. So who had the idea, and who was part of this developing the Android of automation vision?
I think this idea has been shaping over the times, and there is no let's say godfather of the idea. Founding members of the ecosystem clearly actually was the CEO that stopped the IoT activities. I was mad with him in the beginning, and he said, "Yeah, but let's twist it, let's pivot it, and let's move it around." And he and our head of sales by the time, and still he's head of sales. The CEO is not there anymore. Those, I would say, are the two founding members that gave me the freedom to explore partnerships. And I think they were also surprised about the results, that what we could achieve within 6 months, 1 year. And then they said, okay, let's do another step. Yeah. And then we got a request from Vago about our software stack. And we were never intending to release it to other companies right from the beginning. And we said, okay, that's a valuable question. Okay, we do that. And then we released the software stack 1 or 2 years later. And like this, it's shaping somehow a strategy. We are not really doing this backward thinking that you just mentioned, Alex. But nowadays, I hear a lot of questions from the management. Where would you like to be in 3 years? Yeah, and that's a very good question. And this goes more into this backward thinking. Yeah, what is your vision? Okay, if you want to be the industrial Android, what kind of steps do you need to take to achieve this? And that's a very good point and a very good question, but that we need to still work out somehow. Yeah,
because that's what we're trying to help is say, look, if you have a purpose, how does that translate into an ambition that is carving out a 5 to 10 year measurable goal?
Yeah.
Because then I think you jump higher and you're clear, am I practicing well enough to meet jumping 2 meters 40 if I use a sports analogy, and that's helping everybody to be focused and to say no to so many things because there are tons of temptations on the way. But what is obviously outstanding in your case, you had this senior management support and you had a good environment to be allowed to try things out, and you've done a great job doing that. Maybe one more aspect that I would like to dig into, you mentioned it in the beginning, saying, look, we are a traditional hardware business and we decoupled now the software side. And our market, or the players in the market, are conservative. They're not used to that. While they accept it in ERPs, it's very hard for them to do it here. That becomes even more important, and given that there's new competitors coming from other geographies around the world, where actually everything is commoditized over and over again. So how do you go about when the value creation on the hardware side goes down over time, how do you ensure that your marketplace and the business model on the software side is going up? What are you currently focusing on, and what can you share here in a video podcast that is not too secret?
Yeah, maybe to give some corrections. So we are, I would say, not a hardware company, but a products company. Yeah, so not software only, products. Yeah, and products which contain software, products which you will still need in 20 years, which cannot be eaten by software or platforms or ecosystems, to be honest, because you need a electrical motor in your electrical car, but also in your machine. You need power electronics. You cannot replace the power electronics. Maybe the computers and the controllers get smaller and maybe will move to the data center and stuff, but you will always have products. And I always say, and you can also see this actually when you have a look at Apple. They're also a product company, but also they have a marketplace for sure. But look at the percentages, what they earn with the iPhone versus, let's say, what they earn with the App Store. Still, hardware makes a big deal for them, or products. So, however, being a product company, a customer decides, as I said, how the product solves its challenges, and they are mostly solved with intelligent software, to be honest, yeah, with regulation systems on it. So you cannot do everything in hardware, so you need the software part. So we need to strengthen the software side in order to still sell our products in the future, and we will always, as Bosch Rexroth in total, with all the technologies that we provide, be a product company and sell products. Yeah. However, we need to differentiate the way how the user interacts with a product, how he loads software onto it. Yeah. So again, time travel, fleet management in OT. How does it work? It's not a centralized IT admin guy managing 1,000 machines, like 1,000 servers. No, it's a maintenance guy going with his laptop to the electrical cabinet, opening it, connecting the laptop, to the controller and making a backup. Yeah. So it's we need to deal with that and still embrace and bring our customers into this new way. Yeah, and I guess in 10 years you can manage 1,000 machines. Yeah, like you manage 1,000 servers nowadays. But still, you will have the machine actually to make the packaging, for example, and that's a challenge. Still developing great products, but delivering great software to it, for example, via a marketplace, and delivering outstanding device management, and also delivering outstanding customer user journey, because we are all spoiled again by B2C and the smartphone world. And we would like to have this experience also in our, let's say, a business life, industrial B2B world. Yeah, and that's driving us.
So talking about this configuration and centralized management administration of the products, I'm curious to know if you have these configuration management database features also integrated or interacting with the marketplace. Are you doing this? Is this planned or not a deal for you?
Yeah, we are. I know you're a marketplace expert, and in our pre-talks we discussed about churn rates and when customer stops in the buying process and stuff like that. Those are standard things when you think about, let's say, internet marketplaces. Yeah, so it's actually a two-channel thing. One thing is the marketplace and downloading software to the device, but here we need to think about also offline use cases, because not every machine is connected to the internet, and you need an operator maybe downloading the software to his laptop and then going with the laptop to the machine. And we have the second channel of device management, where you administer the devices, where you check the software which is installed, where you put updates, deliver updates over. So it's separated at the moment.
Okay, going back to the engagement of the senior leaders, which was clearly a success factor. You told us in the pre-discussion that you're actually really trying to get more and more and more people behind this ecosystem mindset and the platform thinking. Can you share maybe a couple of tactics that you apply to to get them infected with the virus?
So I think a good tactics from the senior management point of view was at the beginning not to talk too much about it. So to keep it somehow protected as a, let's say, protected project. Maybe also to protect themselves, because if it's not successful, nobody will know about it. So to keep it protected, but to be behind it, I always say you need senior management if you want to engage in ecosystem thinking and platforms. You need a senior management, because you will encounter also, let's say, some negative vibes, maybe from your own company even, because somehow a partner can be competitor to an existing product, and then the colleagues they chat you on the side, hey, you actually know you're partnering with a competitor of ours. And I was like, yeah, I know, but it's supported by management, yeah, because we want to be really truly open. We need to act like this. So that, I think that was the first thing. And then I always involve them into the community meetings. This is on the one hand also, let's say, that the partners appreciate that the management is behind. Yeah, it's that senior management is showing up at the partner meetings, online meetings, or in real life. And on the other hand, it's also that the senior management sees all those great people and their know-how and what they bring in, so that they get excited also about the company. So and this worked pretty well, I would say, and they got excited. And then obviously they look on KPIs, and you need to not only just to show the sure numbers of growth, but also you need what's behind, what does it bring, what's the turnover actually of partner solutions. So they are following this. And now, since it's working somehow and we are communicating quite openly about it, you see other senior managers joining. But still, there are people, let's say, also having a different opinion on it. And that's okay. As long as, for example, the management of my business unit is behind, I'm fine. Not everybody needs to agree and like, let's say, this ecosystem thing. We are very, let's say, diverse company with diverse businesses and also market positions. So in other technologies, we are the market leader. And maybe for a market leader, as I said with the elephant example that I just gave in the beginning, maybe for a market leader would act different in an ecosystem or building an ecosystem than a company which is like a speedboat and a mid-size on the market. Yeah. And you need to adopt your strategy, and maybe they see it from a different way and are not agreeing to everything what we do. But that's okay.
So,
Great.
so taking people with you, motivating people to participate in the whole ecosystem, in the whole company, also from the partner side, is often a big obstacle when building up a platform. So would you say that the community event is one of the key events to drag them with you, to motivate them? And what are your, I would say, best practices when talking there and organizing that?
It's not only the community events, it's also the way how we act as partner managers. As I said in the beginning, we are approachable. My colleague, he is, let's say, almost approachable in the mornings, but also in the evenings. So you can contact us, you can call us. We are there. We are not. You don't need to call a number or to get a number and wait in the queue. You know. And somehow I think it's also a sweet spot in my personality, to be honest. I like to interact with people. I like languages. I like also podcasts, by the way.
Thank you.
So and discussing and exchanging also with Alex and you, David, is also, I enjoy that a lot. And I think I hit a sweet spot as a job for me as a person. Yeah. And for example, when I hired now further partner managers, I was looking very closely what kind of people are, let's say, presenting, and I selected really I really thought in the beginning what kind of partner managers do we need, and I selected, we had a lot of applicants, by the way, and I selected 2 guys that I thought that fit perfectly to the team and also to our partners, and I'm quite happy about my selection after 1 year working with them. So it's not only the events, it's a combination of many factors, I would say, and you need to be really engaged, and you need to. I really love what I do, yeah. So and I think partners feel that.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. So from an internal perspective, what drags the internal motivation? What pushes the internal motivation? So we were talking about leadership, and leadership gives a go. That's super nice, and supports, super nice. But there are lots of other people maybe working in silos, need to break up the silos, have to change their communication management. So how could you motivate them to participate and to really engage?
The internal one, you need to make them affected. Yeah, so drag the internal ones. So now we have partners on our fair booth. Yeah, we started last year inviting partners to be present with us on fairs, to have their, let's say, to have a ctrlX World area where the partners present. And then we try to pull in our sales guys and mix with the partners that they are not, let's say, scared about that's a partner. And so making people involved and affected is a good strategy to make them care about the solutions, I would say. So we try to bring our developers to a partner, that the partner gives feedback about the developer journey. I bring other product managers together with partners to say, hey, let's look at these companies. That's, I think, one thing. The other thing is communicating about quick wins, success stories. What can be achieved with a partner which cannot be achieved alone. Then people understand, okay, we are extending our reach. Yeah. So we shifted, for example, in communication about the sheer number of partners to the possible use cases we can do together with partners, and to explain, okay, 90 partners, but there's, I don't know, 150 possible new use cases that can be achieved together. And then the people understand, okay. And you know, a sales guy in the past, that's a very funny thing. We have a new platform, yeah, and it takes in our industry, let's say 5 to 7 years really to fully unfold this platform. A sales guy goes to a customer, presents very proud his solution, and then the customer says, hey, but you know, I have this software that I always use to do this and that. Does it interact with your platform? Do you have this feature? And in the past, the sales guy was like, oh shit, we don't have this. And he goes back home and maybe is crying that he cannot get the customer. Now he says, you have the software. You know, we have this partner program. We can easily interact with the software. No issues. Here's the guy that manages the partner network, and we can make them partner, and it flawlessly interacts with the platform. So for a sales guy, this is also a new thing. Yeah. And we need to, let's say, decrease the barrier for them to talk about a partner solution and to see it as an advantage. And clearly, many sales guys understood it as an advantage nowadays.
Cool. You just talked really passionate about your job and your role, and I think that's what makes this community and this partner network so vital and vibrant. And the other thing which really stands out to me listening to you is that the senior management all of a sudden now discovers that hey, that's a crown jewel that we have. We need to polish it, and they ask you, well, where do you want to be in a couple of years? That's a good sign and signal at the end of the day. And what is also very nice to see that you adjusted the metrics. And so this is another key success factor that we see, that you're clear on the metrics. Of course, they're the typical financial metrics, but actually that you're screening and segmenting the number of use cases instead of the numeric number of partners. That is pretty smart and can be inspiring to our audience here. And one last thing that was very, very positive listening to you is that you really facilitate those connections and allow people, because at the end of the day, it's the people that develop the product solutions and the improvements. So you connect them and nudge them. And ultimately, we join partner networks and ecosystems when we think it's valuable to us. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. And so when there is action happening, people say, hey, this is a real good ecosystem, and they start recommending. So where I'm going with this little interim summary is on your, maybe a couple of words on your metrics that you have applied over and above what I just talked about, and how you do see members, meaning that are already members today, are recommending you, that you can start getting this viral loop of recommendations that others say, well, if you want to join, you got to join the ctrlX world. Can you tell us a little bit about this positive upward spiral?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's looking on those network effects. We see them, and it's interesting. We have one effect. Let's have a look. For example, we have a lot of sensor companies now in the network. So there are big sensor companies from Europe. We have IFM, SICK, Balov, and now you have this effect that their competitors are approaching us and telling, hey, what's needed to be part of this, because we see all our competitors there. We have this in the sensor field, but also in industrial robotics, for example, quite interestingly. That is nice and let's say appealing to us. But yeah, it's a clear sign that we are on a scale phase and not in the launching phase anymore. What is more important for me nowadays, you mentioned the number of use cases, or so for me the utility of the ecosystem is let's say the most important thing. And we switched from gaining partners or partner leads, which was quite steep at the beginning. We switched to making partners contribute, and also let's say looking who's contributing, and also pushing sales on partner solutions. So we shifted a bit our attention now in the last months, I would say, towards the other side, from the two-sided market, towards the customers, towards pushing partner solutions to our customers. Because as you said, it must be win-win for both sides. Everybody's here to not because they like the community so much, but they want to earn actually money. So because they need to survive as a company. And so we are shifting our intention or attention more towards this customer side, helping our partners to sell their solutions better. We do more trainings, or we relaunched our training approaches. We invite them to fairs, we bring them together with leads, and then we see effects. So that's absolutely needed. And we stopped acquiring new partners, by the way, or put them a bit on the waiting line, because we cannot handle too much, and rather, let's say, focus here. And what we see is also flourishing, not from the network effect side, that also partners, let's say, have customers for us, and that is really cool. So we fill our customer lead channel via partners. That is really great, and management would like to see this a bit more, actually. But this is because the partners trust so much in the platform that they recommend the platform also to their customers. And that is, compared to the network effect with the competitors, this partners recommending the platform, I think, is the best KPI and the best thing that we can achieve, and we need to do this actually more. And then we have this win-win solution. We pushing for partner solutions via our channels, but also partner pushing for the platform because they like it so much, and it's the most hassle-free thing for them to deliver their software. Yeah.
And looking at your setup, we touched upon it in Barcelona. Actually, you were so kind to, be there in a small video recording. Another thing you've done really well is the brand and the brand architecture with ctrlX. When we last had our conversation, you were wearing a beautiful hoodie, and in your background, it's still there. There you go. Look at this. We couldn't see it behind the mic. Actually, you had those skins in the background. And he also told us about management. Start wearing like a Bosch sneakers, and that you're thinking along the lines of merchandising. Tell us a little bit more about that, because then it shows that it's more than just a B2B business that is delivering value and transactions, but it's actually something what you portrayed so much, which is passion, which is fun, enjoying what you do. That would be great.
That's an interesting thing with the brand, you think B2B is, let's say, not caring so much about the brand, but we found out two major things. The brand is very much important, and also design. Imagine this, yeah? So our devices are hidden mostly inside the machine or electrical cabinet, yeah? So why should you make them look nice? Yeah, because customers actually decide, and I was referring to this, we are spoiled by B2C, we are spoiled by nice design. Also in the B2B world, design plays an important role. And for example, we put, when we launched the platform, the brand, that the design and the naming was senior management decision. So that senior management, before our developers invented names, they called it Project Apollo, and then the product got called Apollo at the end somehow, and management said, no, it's too much important for us, and you cannot select names, and we decide on it, and we decide on the design, and we keep a consistent design on the product because customers decide on that, even B2B, and that was really cool that we took this decision. And I remember the agency we hired when we were launching the platform 1 year before, they went to our lead fair, and the agency was walking around, and I explained them a bit our industry, and I say, we need to be better than what you see here on the fair. And the agency guy told me, that's not very difficult. To be honest, that's not very difficult. But it's outstanding, and communicating consistently on the brand, and we try to establish a very strong product brand. That was a key measure, a key target to create a really strong product brand and to be recognizable. We succeeded in this. And it goes so much, and I was really surprised or astonished by this. We hired a lot of people last year because we got some further investment, and it was not so complicated to attract talent because we had an interesting brand. We had a lot of cool marketing material online where people got really hooked with the platform. So brand is not only a decision factor for what kind of products you buy in B2B, but also how you attractive you become as an employer when you are searching for people. And I was really astonished because I asked all the applicants, where do you know ctrlX from? And they said, oh, we saw this on the internet, these cool videos and so on. I was like, wow, that's cool. So even in B2B is very much important things that you need to consider and that you need to strengthen.
Yeah. And this is true to my heart because our thinking here is also very much brand-led. And the brand is not only the design or the gestalt of it, but it's really everything orchestrated, what you're delivering, what the customer, the employees, and the stakeholder can experience. And you can design all that. You decide on it. And you've done a great job, and it starts paying dividends. And you said that even management is wearing now those branded sneakers, which really look cool. And that's the best thing, that people are passionate. And we always look at the US folks, right? If you think of the Tesla guys with their funny shirts on the shop floor and the statements, or the Apple's folks. And it's super to see that in Central Europe in B2B. And you should inspire with your role model more companies to not just sell boxes, but really sell experiences, being part of a movement and creating impact, because Europe needs to catch up.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure, definitely.
So thank you very much for this conversation. As a final question, you mentioned it briefly. I would have one, and then David maybe has a last one. But my last one will be, you've been asked by management, let's scale this thing now. You move from launch phase into growth phase. Where would you like to be in 3 to 5 years? So if you close your eyes and visualize what is there something you are allowed to share, or actually you're proud to share?
Yeah, the scaling question drives us a lot. And I mean, this is also something that we learned from the internet companies, right? They scale a lot, and how can you scale as a product company? Most certainly you cannot scale like a hockey stick that everybody would like to. So, and most certainly also in our conservative industry, and where machine builders take some time to apply technology. So it's not as fast as the consumer world. But my mission here is clear, with establishing a really truly open industrial Android, having it on more devices running, but not only from Bosch Rexroth and Vago. So we are partnering also with Dell and Nokia and try to find others to truly offer an alternative for customers that are fed up with the big elephants. That is one motivation, and obviously also to bring all the partners in the network to this win-win situation and generate turnover on both sides, yeah, and to create a significant turnover with third-party solutions on our platform. That is driving me and pushing me, and I cannot stop moving to a new position until this is not fulfilled somehow. Yeah, I was discussing with senior management yesterday about it, and I cannot drop now this and go away like you would do it in a corporate world to make career. I would like to succeed here with this in this automation world, and that is driving me. So yeah, I think that those are our targets.
Yeah, so my last question will be, from a technological perspective, which feature or function or process is really innovative from your perspective?
Yeah, deep tech question at the end. That's very interesting. So, you know, in our industry, we have this term coined Industry 4 or Industrial IoT. And it has been established 10 years ago. And when you look now on the shop floor, you would expect that every machine is connected. Yeah, but David, I have to disappoint you. Maybe 20% or less are connected. Why is that so? Because creating connectivity is painful job. Yeah, and costs a lot of money and is painful. So one thing how we are addressing it. And from IT perspective, this is again a very standard thing. we make the, accessibility to data of an OT device really easy. Yeah. By providing connectors to the legacy stuff on the shop floor, but also by clearly applying or allowing APIs, so standard interfaces where you can read the data. Before it was really distributed in industrial control and really hard to get, and you needed to program this. And now comes the magic. When you have a shop floor full of these ctrlX devices, it's like a snip of a finger. And when you have a central server, with a snip of a finger, you have all the data of all these devices in one single point. And this is addressing the connectivity problem, because then once you have the data, you can do all the fancy data analytics, predictive maintenance stuff. But having this moment of having, let's say, from 100 controllers with a snip of a finger, all the data on one point, this is truly magic. But only if you know how it's been done before. Before you needed to program everything. Now it syncs automatically because the devices are syncing their APIs together on one central point. And that's outstanding. And that's a feature we are showing in our model fab and our demo factory in Ulm. And that's, you will probably think, okay, that is normal. What's to understand? For a maintenance guy or for a shop floor guy, he will fall over when he sees it. So
great.
I think this is one of the cool point of the platform from a technological perspective.
That's awesome.
I still have a question. Now that you talk about it, last one. You talked about your marketplace and that you see those customers and partners searching, but actually transacting somewhere else. You talk about your growth goal. Maybe talking about the tech stack, top line. What tech stack do you have, and what will be, your focus moving forward? Because it's so essential. You make everything enjoyable, you make everything easy, you make everything engaged, and then you said, well, our tech stack isn't there yet.
Yeah, tech stack is still something that we need to further work on. So we use a community tool, a professional community tool called Chorus, which provides a kind of front end to our app store or to our marketplace. Because in our marketplace, this is, I think, based on Salesforce. Since we are such a diverse company, the marketplace is more towards oriented hardware or products than software. So we use a kind of front end, like a window shopping to present the apps in a nice, cool way, because we need to improve the actual Rexroth store to better represent software, because it's more hardware oriented. So that's one side of the tech stack. Then we use this ERP system that everybody in Europe uses almost exclusively, which forces you now to go to the cloud, and which needs to be, let's say, more ready for micropayments, for subscriptions, for all these kind of different business models that everybody would like to do, and where everybody then uses a payment service provider in between, because the big ERP stack is maybe not really fulfilling all the needs here. I think this also needs to further elaborate it. And let's say the complete infrastructure to distribute software in an OT way. We are using a commercial Linux distribution here. It's also an ongoing process to further elaborate, and I'm very happy to have very skilled colleagues digging into this IT tech stack to improve it daily. Licensing system, another nice thing. So there's always improvement needed here on that end. And to achieve a customer journey that you get, for example, with the Apple App Store, it's a lot of work, to be honest. And as I said, we are all spoiled. We are all spoiled by this technology, and but
the bar
we need
is
to catch
rising.
up. Yeah, the bar is rising, exactly. And yeah, you find a lot of things to improve when you compare it to this.
Cool, Michael. Thank you so much that you joined us. It was super interesting from all angles. So as we said in the beginning, it's around discovery here, business model strategy, tech, and the people and organization behind it. You ticked all boxes. And you even were brand led. So this is a super premium edition for us. Thank you very much. And we wish you all the best on this journey, and let's stay connected. And guys, thank you for turning in. Please comment, add questions, and share this content, because we want to make sure that platform and ecosystem business models are thriving here across Europe and beyond. And tune in soon when we're saying again as the DJs, thanks for joining Platform Disco.